Hello, sophomores. This is Mrs. Gradian, and I'm here today to share with you a presentation about giving credit where credit is due, citing sources and creating a works cited page. So in this presentation, I will be explaining to you 3 different ways that you need to correctly cite sources. One will be verbally in your actual presentation, which is also called embedded. One in print, which is an in-text citation, and a list, which is your works cited page. Embedded just means to include the citation information in the content of your essay or speech, so you will say the author's name, the title, and the date of the source as you talk about it. An in-text citation is slightly different in that it uses a type of shorthand to show where the quote or paraphrase comes from. It is connected to your works cited page because that is where all the rest of the source information will be listed. It's sometimes called a parenthetical citation because you write the necessary information in parentheses. We'll see some examples of this on the next page. Also, at the end of the presentation, I have included some videos that will go into more detail about how to format in-text citations. As you might recall in Ms. Moore's video, she explained different reasons why you would want to cite a source. And these are 3. One is to give the appropriate credit, and this is to avoid plagiarism, doom, gloom, and shame. Another reason is to add credibility. It enhances your opinion or claim with text evidence that shows just how smart you are, because even the experts agree with you. And then finally, it demonstrates your understanding of the text. You've read the book, now you're going to show off your insights. So let's start with the first one, giving credit verbally. You will not be putting every piece of information that you need to share on the slide because you're going to explain it. You may include the quote and the author on the slide, but you'll have to add the rest of the information as you explain it. That way you are talking about it and the people in the audience are not just reading it. So what should you share? You should share the author or speaker or artist, which is the who. You should share the what, the publication, website, podcast. And then you should share the when, the date of the publication or performance. So here's the first example for you. So in my class, I've been sharing with my students an independent reading book that I've read called The Last House Guest. And one theme that I identified was, when you finally grow comfortable with being your true self, you will find peace and happiness. So here's the quote from the book. Greg Randolph had once called me Sadie's monster, but he was wrong. If I were anyone's monster, I was Grant's. Taking everything he taught me, risking everything, believing there was something that would keep people coming, the power of the ocean. And they did. It was reckless with no promises, but Littleport has always been the type of place that favors the bold. So you can notice that I've listed the author's name, guest, and the page numbers, and that I put a period after the parentheses. Here's what I would say if I were just doing my presentation on my book like you guys are going to do. In Megan Miranda's 2019 novel, The Last House Guest, her central character has spent years trying to blend in with the wealthy crowd, trying to be invisible so that she could grasp some sense of happiness that the golden crowd seems to ooze from their pores. She learned more than she realized while working for the Lohman family, and in the end, she became better than they were, a property owner with morals and an altruistic purpose that helped her find peace with herself, strengths and flaws alike. All right, in a second example from my project on my independent read book, I have another aspect of the theme, which is hiding who you are or trying to be someone you're not in order to please someone will become a type of prison. And my character Avery from the book has discovered this. So here's what I would say in introducing this quote. In the 2018 song Epiphany, written and performed by Jin of BTS, he sings, I wanted to live my life for you, but as I kept doing that, I just can't bear the storm in my heart. It's evident here that he could no longer bear being a person that he wasn't just to keep his relationship going. He realizes that he should love himself first, and then someone will come along who will love him as he is. This connects to my character Avery, who's given up so much of who she is to become a person that she thinks her friend Sadie wants her to be. She eventually realizes that her friend wasn't as happy as Avery thought she was, and was actually trying to help Avery become her true self. So you might recognize this quote from Ms. Moore's presentation. You can't selectively numb emotion. You can't say, here's the bad stuff. I don't want to feel these. The cycle of suppressing negative feelings only leads to more negative feelings, so it's essential to let ourselves feel everything. Humans cannot numb those hard feelings without numbing the other effects. And you'll see that brown is in parentheses, and there's a period there. So you're still going to, if this was part of your presentation, you would still need to introduce and explain where it came from and how it fits into the theme at the top of the page. So this is what you might say. In her 2010 TED Talk, The Power of Vulnerability, renowned researcher and author Brené Brown said that eliminating the bad emotions will also eliminate the good ones. We can't hide from vulnerability and expect to be happy. So as you can see, I've given you a bit more information than just who the speaker is. I've told you when it took place and where, the TED Talk, and the title, The Power of Vulnerability. But I didn't write all that on the slide because there's really not room for that. All right, now that we've talked about the information you need to put on your slides and the information you need to explain verbally, now you need to work on your works cited, which is your list of sources. So essentially, you need to do these things. If at all possible, you start with an author or speaker's name and you use the last name first and then the first name. Once in a while, you find something online that doesn't attribute an author's name, like sometimes newspaper articles just list a person as staff. So then you start with the title first and then the publication and so forth. But essentially you need the author, the title, the date, the publisher and location, and sometimes a web address if its home is on the internet. So to the right, you can see my works cited page that I have begun, and I'm going to show you, so you can see that it's listed alphabetically, last name first, and then all the other important information was already formatted for me conveniently by Noodle Tools. So I'm actually going to divert from my slides now and go over to Noodle Tools, where you can see that I've already started a project, and my project is called The Last House Guest and Owning Your Own Identity. And then I have gone to sources because I want to add a new source. And I found a podcast also by Brené Brown, which I thought would be very relevant for my topic. And it's from Unlocking Us, which is her podcast. And the title is called Grief and Finding Meaning. So the title of the episode is Where I Am Now. You can see I've already put in Brené Brown, and I am now going to put the title of the episode in here. Grief and And the nice thing about Noodle Tools is if you make a typo, it tells you. And the season is season 1, and the episode is episode 5. All right, and then it is not television. We're going to say it's radio. I know podcasts really aren't on radio anymore. Well, maybe some of them are, but in this case, because there isn't a special category on Noodle Tools for podcast. Unlocking Us. Okay. And then she has a guest speaker, and I'm going to call him an actor or performer. The guest speaker is, oh my gosh, David Kessler. Oops. Kessler. Oh, great. Let's try that again. All right. And the date of the broadcast was March 31st, 2020. Okay. And the name of the broadcasting company is and I had to do a little digging to find some of this information. I just Googled it and looked for some of this information. All right, I think we're ready to go. So now it's saved and it has added it in alphabetical order here. And so one last thing I want to show you is that you can, once it's already organized and you have all your sources in there, you can print and export to Google Docs. So you can actually make your works cited on a Google Doc, and all you had to do was print that, and then boom, now you have your sources, everything's ready, and all you're going to have to do is copy and paste that into your slide. So that was a fast and furious presentation on how to put together your project and accurately cite your sources both verbally, in print, and in your list or your works cited page. Here are the other links. This slideshow will be shared on Canvas, so you'll be able to access it along with the links. If you have any questions for me or Mr. Rognus or Ms. Moore, I'm sure we would be happy to answer those questions. Good luck with your projects, and we'll see you soon. Thanks.